everyone, welcome to today's video, and today I have an Urban Decay brand bites for you, which means I'm going to take you through every single bit by Urban Decay that I have in my makeup collection. I've already done a few of these in the past year or so. There's a Maybelline one, a Dior one, Too Faced was the most recent one. I will make sure to link some of them down in the description box so you can have another look at if you want to see more of what I have in my makeup collection. And like I said in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about all of my Urban Decay bits. Yeah, so let's just have a look at them. I'm going to start off with face products, and I only have a few of those. I just recently bought the All Nighter foundation, which I was originally going to go for the Naked foundation because that's a bit more dewy, a bit more luminous, and that's what I usually prefer. But since this is a very full coverage foundation that promises to stay on, I was just very intrigued by this. A full review of this will still be up on my blog, but with foundations I like to test them out over a longer period of time, at least for like a solid week, so I can really test it in different situations. So that's what I hope to do with this one. I also have two concealers. I have the Naked Skin concealer, which is one that everybody's been raving about, and I can definitely get the hype, and I think this is very comparable to some of the other concealers that I love, but I think I like the Too Faced Born This Way just a touch more because that's a little bit more hydrating. The other concealer that I have is actually not in its original container anymore because I had to depot it so I could continue using it. This is the 24/7 concealer, I believe. It comes in like a little pencil shape, and it's what I'm using, what I've on my face today, as well as a foundation you just saw, by the way. I bought this over a year ago, and I use it for like weeks. Like last winter, this was my go-to concealer because I liked it that much. It's a bit more of a drier formula than the Naked concealer, but I feel it has a little bit more coverage because of that, and this is one of those creamy concealers that still works on the under eye, and especially in the winter time I tend to get really tired, really dark circles, so this has been a lifesaver last year, and I think I'm gonna go back to it again because using it for this video today reminded me how much I love this. I have a sample size of the Urban Decay All Nighter makeup setting spray. To be quite honest with you, I'm not a big fan of makeup setting sprays. My skin is pretty dry, and I don't really have a very big issue with my makeup wearing off throughout the day, but I don't really feel I need this type of product, which is why I don't really use it very often. I don't own any blushes by Urban Decay, but I do own a highlighter and a bronzer. Let's start with the bronzer first. This is another very recent addition. This is the Beached Bronzer in Sunkissed. It comes in two shades, and this is the lighter one. And what I like about this is that it has a very a very red undertone to it, which makes it very flattering, especially in the summertime. I think this will look nice. And then for highlight, I have one of the Afterglow 8-hour highlights. This is in Aura, which is again the one aimed more at pale people. And this is a very interesting shade, and it's one of my absolute favorite highlights that I own. It's like a pinky iridescent purple. It definitely has a shift to it. Those are all of the face products I have, but I also have a couple of lipsticks. I have 3 of their older formula, which is the Revolution lipstick. I never really heard many people rave about the Revolution lipsticks by Urban Decay, but they were really good. Luckily, all of the shades that they seem to do in the Revolution line, they still do in the Vice lipstick line. I have 69, After Dark, which is a matte formula, and Venom. All 3 of these are definitely more vampy shades. Venom is more of a like intense berry shade. After Dark is a bit more intense, a bit more purple. And then 69 is one of my favorites because it has like a pinky toned red. Onto the Vice lipsticks. I own 5 of these. I wrote a review of 4 of these on my blog the other day, so I will link that down below. So the nude that I went for is Backtalk, which is also what I'm wearing on my lips today. And this is just a really great everyday color. The red that I went for is Gash, which is a cream, and I'm usually not a big fan of creams when it is a red lipstick. But I do have to say that this is a very comfortable formula. And the bright that I went for in the first place is Tilt, and it's like a corally orangey shade. It definitely looks more orange in the tube, but on my lips it pulls a bit more coral. The metallic one I went for is Cruel, and Cruel is a red with like a golden shimmer to it, and surprisingly this is the one that I wear the most. Then the one that I bought I think just a few weeks ago, because I was really umming and ahhing between Tilt and Checkmate, and I couldn't get Checkmate out of my head, so I bought this like bright Again, this is more like a corally pink shade. So where Tilt is more of like a coral orange, this is a coral pink. And now we're moving on to eyes, because eyes, that's where I think Urban Decay really does a great job. That's where Urban Decay stole my heart. Some of these products you may have already seen in my eyeshadow palette collection, but I don't think anybody really minds seeing them another time. So before we get to the eyeshadow palettes, let's have a look at some other eye products that I have. I have the Urban Decay Primer Potion. This has been my go-to primer, eyeshadow primer for the past couple of months again. I bought a mini size of this because I think I like this a little less than the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, but I hadn't tried it in a while, so I wanted to make sure whether it was still like feeling the same about it. I do have to say that I really like the updated packaging of this. I remember using this when it still came in this like potion bottle, which looked really cute, but it was very impractical because half of the product just wouldn't come out. So I'm really happy with this, and yeah, this is one of those products that lasts a very long time, so I think that just going with a mini is enough for me. I also have some eyeliners. This is the 24 Glide On eyeliner pencil. Of course, everybody loves these. I think not everybody's raving about these as much anymore, I feel, but I do feel that I think these were like some of the first higher end eyeliner pencils that I bought, and because of that I don't really own many by MAC or any other brand because I pretty much have my 4 go-to neutral shades by Urban Decay, so I don't need anything else. So I have Urban Decay Zero, which is the black. For a cool tone brown, I went with Underground, which is more like a gray taupey undertone. And then I have Bourbon, which is a very nice warm tone brown. And then I have Crash, which is more of like an aubergine purpley shade. 2 palettes that weren't in my eyeshadow palette collection because I don't keep these in my drawer where I keep most of my palettes are the Urban Decay Naked Basics palettes. I have the Naked Basics 1, which looks like this, and I have the Naked Basics 2. I really use these to sort of supplement other palettes that are perhaps all shimmer or very bright and intense and don't have enough neutrals. Then I like pulling these in to sort of round it off very nicely, and I tend to go for this mostly because it has a very nice like neutral toned highlight shade, like Frisk and Cover, because they are like really nice blending shade for like blending out the crease. From the Naked Basics 1, I really like Walk of Shame, again because it has that flesh tone color, as well as Naked 2 and Faint. I like Faint to like darken things up a little bit, and Venus is a great shimmery inner corner highlight. And then we go on with the Mother Load. Yeah, like I said, eyeshadow, Urban Decay eyeshadow is like my vice, not their lipsticks, but their eyeshadows, that's my vice. Yeah, when it comes to colorful eyeshadows, Urban Decay is just the brand I go to. Speaking of colorful eyeshadows, I think that my preferred colorful eyeshadows are the Urban Decay Vice palettes. These were released year after year for Christmas as limited editions. I somehow got my hand on the 4 standard ones. I don't have the Vice limited edition one, the LTD, which is like this bright neon yellow one. So let's start off with the palette that I have on my face today. This is the Urban Decay Vice 3 palette. This is my favorite Vice palette, and what I've done is I used Sonic on the lid, and then I used Alchemy, which is this purpley shade, in the crease. Dragon, the green, is on my lower lash line, and I sort of tied it all together with Heroine. I definitely don't use these on a daily basis. The Vice 3 is just my favorite. I also have 2 of their older palettes. This is the Deluxe Shadow Box. Nobody really seems to know what this thing is called, but it's called the Deluxe Shadow Box. This has some really nice shades. This was, I think, the very first Urban Decay palette I ever bought. I like Honey as a gold. The only 2 shades I don't really like in here are Zero and Peace. This one I already mentioned in my eyeshadow palette collection that I've been umming and ahhing about decluttering this for like the longest time. It has some very classic Urban Decay shades, and that's one of the reasons why I can't get rid of it. It, for instance, has Twice Baked, which is a shadow that you don't see in a lot of Urban Decay palettes, but it's a very nice, intense, dark brown. I also have a complete family of Urban Decay Naked palettes for like your everyday basics. Pick one of these and you're good to go. My favorite of the 4 is the Naked 3 because it has the rosy tones, and that's just very flattering on my skin tone, I find. The one that I use the least is the Naked Smoky because some of these shades are too dark for me. So if you're very fair-skinned, be very careful with this. There are only like a handful of shades in this palette that truly work on my skin tone. Just bog standard Naked 1, Naked 2, warm tone for the summertime, cool tone for the winter time. That's how I like to use these. And then I also have some more special palettes that were very, very limited edition. The 15th anniversary palette. The reason why I don't have the Spectrum palette that they did in 2015 is because it doubles a lot of shades from this palette and it seemed to have very similar quality. This row right here with like the purples and the teals and the blues and this shade right here, Ace and Half Truth, those are the shades that really make this palette for me. Still in its box because I just think it's too pretty not to keep it anymore, is the Alice in Wonderland palette. I completely lucked out on this, but this palette has so many incredible shades that are very unique. I did a look that's a little bit similar to this, but with like the green and the crease and cake, and this is such a great colorful palette with, again, plenty of neutrals so you can really play with it. In that sense, I feel it's very comparable to the Vice 3 because you just have a lot of good shades that can really make a workable eye look that isn't standard every day. And another palette that I still keep in its box because it's just too pretty is the newer Urban Decay Full Spectrum palette. The reviews on this were very sort of drab. A lot of people don't like this. And I can understand why. If you're a makeup artist and you're used to using like Sugar Pill and all that, I'm pretty sure that this palette is in complete letdown. But this is the only rainbow palette I have. It's the only palette I really have that has a yellow, for instance, and a yellow that works too. This has just some stunning shades, and I found that I could create very colorful, very wearable looks with this. So those were all of the Urban Decay products that I have in my collection. Leave a comment down below because I'm very curious to see what you have. Perhaps not your entire collection, but name one Urban Decay product that you really enjoy. I'm very curious to hear about that. And I really hope to see you in my next video. I think that next week's video is going to be an empty products, shall I repurchase kind of video. So I really hope you enjoy that, and I hope to see you then. Bye. I can just talk about eyeshadow all day long, you know that?